we're in their garage. Well, we're continuing the Jeep project. Here's a link to that playlist of all the steps that we've done to get it ready to this point and later. Just wanted to take a minute. We're ready to sand this thing. And when originally my buddy Devin and his wife Kristen decided that they wanted to get the Jeep painted, of course you do, it looked awful, it was ready to get painted, and they said, we'll help you, I'll help you sand, I'll help you do this, you know, we can help you with this so it's not so hard, and then it'll be easier, because they want, like, I don't know, $10,000 to restore it at their body shop. Well, there's a reason they want $10,000, because the time involved. So just remember two things: people want to save money, and two, their good intentions of helping aren't usually help. So when you get into a situation like that, you just got to go, no. Now, I love my brother Devin and Kristen, so, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but I knew going into this that would be a struggle, getting people that don't know what they're doing, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but getting people that don't know what they're doing to wet sand the Jeep, because when they say, I don't really care what it looks like when it's done, that's not true. So let's take a look at how I do the wet sanding. You might do it differently. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. If you decide that you want to do it a different way, that's cool, but I've had good results with this, so let's take a look. Okay, so these are just a few of the tools that I use when I'm doing my final wet sand, getting this thing ready for paint. You're going to need blocks, and these are just, this is a KB Flex. This is a big one that I cut down. I don't need one. I needed a sheet long. Here's another rubber block. You're going to need some wet or dry foam pads, and I use a squeegee to check it sometimes. This rubber squeegee is handy. And you need some, I use 400 wet or dry paper. Usually that tends to be cuts enough, but it also leaves it smooth enough to paint for most finishes. Now you can also go back with a 600 grit when you're done with everything if you want to make it really spot on. So here's the basic concept, right? You're using something to separate your hand and the sandpaper from the surface, because if I take my fingers and I put it on here, it's going to put pressure on these 3 points, and it's going to make a divot or make a lower spot where my fingers are, and it'll be higher in the other. When you use a block on the paper, it flattens the surface out because it's going to sand all the way across. Now, primer's really easy to sand. And the same thing with the foam pad. What it's doing is it's taking that pressure from your fingers and going all across the pad rather than those 3 spots. Okay, so one of the most important tools you can do when you're wet sanding is your fingertips, right? You're feeling for any imperfections, any roughness, anything like that, and when it feels really super smooth like glass, and then you're done. You don't need to sand anymore. Wash it off, let it dry, and then look for more imperfections. Okay, I pretty much got the hood wet sanded, blocked down, everything else. We're going to let it dry after I've washed it off. And then I'm going to look for any imperfections, any like rough spots. Getting pretty close to having it done, ready to paint. Fenders also, got the contours done on the front of the fenders. So then all we're going to be left with is a little bit of the windshield and then the flat parts on the side. So moving along, now I got to go to work after I've been working out here for about 2 or 3 hours. But we'll see how it looks here in a few. Alright, I got my Milwaukee light out here, and I'm trying to get it finished prep for tomorrow's paint job. I can see that I've got one mark right here I need to sand out. Rest of the hood looks pretty dang good. There's a little bit of a goober right there. Alright, we're out here in the dark, and I found some pretty substantial dents on the hood that I've bondoed. I'm going to try to get those done tonight, get it all knocked out. We're doing our final wet sanding on the primer. Devin's doing the backside, which is flat, which is pretty like... I wouldn't say idiot proof, but it's easier than the contoured stuff, so I think he'll be able to do okay on that.
You can say idiot proof, that's fine.
It's not really idiot proof, but since we're going to be painting some of it back with bed liner, you know, I'm not too worried about it. But we're trying to get everything done tonight that we can, because it's supposed to be in the 70s tomorrow, and that's going to be the last day that it's going to be super nice and warm, and that's really kind of my goal. So we're going to keep on working on this crap. Here's my sanding protege right here. He's an expert now on the world of sanding.
Sure.
What? Sure.
You're sanding.
You don't believe it? Oh, okay. Wax on, wax off. All right, here's the dent on the, it's kind of dark out here. Here's the dent on the hood that I fixed, and I had a little spot down here, so I'm gonna go ahead and shoot some primer on there. It's about 60 degrees, 58. I think we'll be okay. I got it activated well. Okay, so after last night's sanding, and I spent another couple hours on it this morning, sanding down those parts that we primed yesterday on that hood. Hopefully it'll come out pretty nice. Here's kind of where we're at. There's an old Southern saying that says, can't make chicken salad out of chicken, we'll just say poop, without a whole lot of mayonnaise. And right now we've run out of mayonnaise, so we're going to wash it down and we're going to let it rip, because at some point you have to say we're done with the body work, we're done with the wet sanding, and we're going to paint it. And there may be some imperfections. Now that's not to say it's not going to look a million times better, but what it is saying is that because it is what it is, there is going to be some imperfections in it, and hopefully they'll be minor. If this were my Jeep and I was doing it, I would have taken off all the hinges, which are rusted on. They don't come off without doing a whole lot of work, because when they put a new top on, if that hinge needs to be adjusted, it's painted over. So that's not the most ideal situation, but it is what it is. So I'm going to start washing her down with a little bit of laundry detergent, and this temperature is supposed to get up in the 70s. It should dry it really well, and we should be able to paint this pig tomorrow. All right, I'm done with all the sanding. I'm waiting for the primer to dry up. At this point, it is what it is. But I think for the most part, it looks pretty good. I got all the residue off. I've got a couple of spots I'm gonna have to wash. I'll do that real quick. Once it starts drying off, you just want to make sure all that primer is off of it. Sometimes you have to wash it a couple of times. I think I got most of it, but I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm pretty happy to gonna be done with it. All right, I got it in the spray booth, and that's cool. Getting it ready for tomorrow. I got some masking to do. Got to mask up the windshield around that rubber. I'll probably put big 50-gallon trash bags around the tires, just because my little wheel covers are too small for the big tires. And then we'll put a drop cloth over the seats and the dashboard. Should be ready to go though. Alright, so I'm about to do some masking. As far as like the Jeep goes, you know, if you think back to what I told you about the chicken salad and the chicken, yeah, we're as good as it's going to get. Now, do I think it's going to look a lot better? Absolutely. I think this thing's going to look much, much better. But do I think it'll be perfect? No. Did I spend more time getting mine prepped? Yes. It really is what it is. We'll see how it turns out. I have pretty good confidence it's going to look nice when we're finished, but you always have that, I don't know, because there is some body work on here that I didn't get to spend as much time on as I needed, because, you know, just sanding and prepping and priming and all that garbage. So, anyway, we're going to see how it comes out. Couldn't be worse, right? Next video, we'll be picking up with shooting paint on this pig. I'm David from the Redneck Garage. Keep turning wrenches.